Okay, we're going to take a look and see what we have here. We ran an update in the middle of the night, 2020.12.6, which is the famous version that now has stoplight and stop sign controls, stopping, at least slowing down. We're going to find out what it's all about. And we have a little bit of an old and new here. My uncle has been storing his El Camino here. Could be what was like the Cybertruck in its time. Anyway, so let's go take a look and see what magic we see when we get inside. And we'll probably lose audio, so I'll probably have to overdub from here on in. Let's see what we have here. Make it as clear as we can. And I'll scroll it up a little bit. Now, I know these things are difficult to read when you're watching a video, especially on a mobile device, so I am going to read it word for word after we finish going through the little test drive. And here we go. So one thing that makes this kind of unusable for daily driving is the fact that it can't be set to above the speed limit, and there's a message that came up saying that I couldn't do that. And it's kind of difficult because when you get a notification that you're coming to a stoplight, at a certain point it starts to slow you down, and then you're going below the speed limit. That's particularly a problem at green lights. Also, I think that the notifications are really not prominent enough. They're rather small and difficult to read. I think they should do something to help notify you, maybe a vibration of the steering wheel or some kind of audio alert. So here's a enlargement overlaid on the screen so you can see exactly what's happening with that notification. And I just stepped on the accelerator and that let me go through, but I did feel a little slowdown. You can see that from the speedometer. And here we go again. We're coming up to another one, and there's another notification. And this one is also green, so we're going to just keep going through it. And eventually we will hit a red one. I think up here I'm going to get in another lane so I'm not right behind another guy. Here's another notification. This one is briefly red. Now it's green again. So shortly you will see what it's doing. It's just a little tricky with all this other traffic on the road. Okay, now I'm in the other lane and this one is turning red and it stops perfectly. It gives me a notification. I'm not doing anything. It's handling it perfectly, and it's a pretty smooth stop. The stops are relatively smooth. It just kind of depends on how much you have to slow down and how close you are to the red light and so forth. And now starting up, when you hit the accelerator to start up again, it's very slow acceleration. So you have to really actually step on the gas yourself. I'm cutting to another place in this here, and here's another one coming up, and we can see that it turned red, and again, another smooth stop. So it seems to be pretty smart. It gives you a warning pretty far out, and then it'll give you notifications like how far it's noticed it from. So it took me a while to really get in tune with this thing, that I had to really kind of pounce on the accelerator to get up to speed. But it does work, and I can see this is all about training the fleet. It's not about making driving easier like autopilot is on the highway. So I'm gonna do a couple of more of these so that you can get a sense of what's going on. There's a lot of lights here. Where we are here, the speed limit on surface streets is very high. It goes up to 55 in some places, which could be, you would maybe think, difficult with the lights. But we will eventually get to test out at least one stop sign before the end of this. So a lot of green lights on the street. There's other cars, so I'm gonna skip ahead here, turn right up here, and then try to hit a red light, which is more interesting than the green lights because I just end up just slowing down and then quickly trying to accelerate to not lose too much. So here you can see this is a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on this street. So here comes a green light, and we're just going to creep on through this because I'm trying to stay away from the traffic in front of me so that I'm basically the first car at the limit line. So this one we're coming up to is a red light, and again you'll get an opportunity to see it perform the stop. And here we go. Maybe not quite as smooth as before, but and then very shortly we're going to get to the first stop sign that I've done. I will say there was another test drive I took after I shot this where I was coming onto a green light and I hit the accelerator to get it to continue, but then the light turned red and it still came to a stop as if I never gave it that. So it's not like doing that gives it permission to go through a red light. It's only really giving it permission to go through a green light, which makes a whole lot of sense. So I just got a nag. It seems like you get a lot more nagging to indicate that you're aware of the road in this particular mode. Also, this doesn't seem to be, see there's another one, this doesn't seem to be tied to the profile. So I set it as on my profile, but it was on for all the profiles, not like it is for Navigate on Autopilot where you can have differences between profiles. So I'm not sure if that's something. See, lots of nags. So I'm wondering if they're doing that because they're trying to make you really aware of what's going on in this particular setup. Okay, finally at the next intersection we will come to a stop sign where I will be turning right, and the only difference between the notifications for a stop sign and a traffic light is that it has an icon showing a stop sign. So here we go, coming up, and here comes the notification, and there it is. You see it shows stop. Here, I'll show you a bigger version of it. See, same thing, stopping for traffic control, and even in the right turn lane, does it perfectly. As promised, next I'm going to read through all of the on-screen documentation for you if you can handle it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe and be sure to use my referral code if you need it. So once you enable traffic light and stop sign control beta, you get this message. It says traffic light and stop sign control is designed to slow down and stop for visible traffic lights or stop signs that are detected when traffic-aware cruise control or auto steer is engaged. Driver accelerator or stalk confirmation is required to proceed through all traffic controls, including green lights, blinking lights, and off lights. The vehicle will continue straight and will not make turns. The traffic light and stop sign control feature will not control for all intersections. Therefore, you must pay attention and be ready to take immediate action at all times, including braking. When this feature is enabled, the maximum set speed while using auto steer is limited to the speed limit of the road. This feature may be conservative and slow down often at first. Over time, as we learn from the fleet, the feature will control more naturally. Performance may be degraded in difficult environments with pedestrians, rain, direct sunlight, or when approaching traffic controls that are obstructed. And then it asks, do you want to enable it? So that pretty much covers what's also in the release notes. However, there is
a little more in the release notes. It also says, before this feature can be enabled, camera calibration may be required and the latest version of navigation maps must be downloaded via Wi-Fi. Please refer to the owner's manual for additional details about this feature. That's the only really other information that I found in the release notes.
So if you hung out this long, I just want to thank you again for watching, and please subscribe, and again, use my referral code if you need it.